So we've had an exciting couple of days with Hex, really gaining some price momentum. Of course, it took a little dip yesterday, whether you want to attribute that directly to Richard Hart's tweet or look a little bit more macro at things and blame it on some of the Kraken news that came out that we talked about. Either way, it's been exciting. And as we discussed, we expect the momentum to continue upwards and onwards with Hex. With all this excitement, with all the excitement within this ecosystem, with Richard Hart's tokens and projects and full ecosystem coming to fruition, and all the exciting announcements and things that are going to be happening on the lead up, it's very easy to lose track of exactly where we are in the crypto cycles right now. We are very much at the bottom or very near to the bottom of the market. And this means that any intelligent purchase decisions that you're making at this point, the risk to reward ratio is very much in your favor. Of course, we are only buying into projects that we believe in, that we've analyzed the fundamentals, it makes sense with our vision, and we want to attribute some of our portfolio to that, right? Hex, Pulsechain, Pulsex, obviously being a part of that portfolio right now. So with that in mind, there is about as little risk as is possible within crypto by getting into the markets right now. And I know I'm not telling many of you anything new, but again, sometimes it actually helps to be reminded of just where we are in this process. It's easy to get wrapped up in, you know, the trading mentality where we're seeing kind of rises and dips in price of some of the tokens that we're involved in. By elongating your time frame, I mean, a lot of this is going to be rendered erroneous anyway. We don't really care because we know that the trajectory for some of this stuff is heading in a much more orbital fashion, so that, you know, the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks are really just a blip on the radar to where we're going. With that in mind, you know, obviously we can still look at some of the real stable, and I use that term loosely, but the real stable cryptos that have been around that have a massive tenure within the space. And I'm talking about the Bitcoins, talking about Ethereum, talking about even Cardano, for instance. And to me, Cardano doesn't have half or a fraction of the selling points that a Pulsechain does, but it's been around. It does have a cult following. It does have a really cool community, and it is at a significant discount right now. So even plays like that can make sense given enough time. Even with Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, in my opinion, again, you know, all of this is just in relation and relative to the world of crypto. But Ethereum, in my mind, probably, maybe this cycle is going to flip Bitcoin. I think, as we've talked about before, it's a very, very popular chain to interact with, to build and engage with. Products do well there. It's not just a store of value, albeit being a very good store of value now. And even though we've seen that explosive price history of Ethereum, you know, some of the same price history that we want Pulsechain to follow, even though we've passed a lot of that and we're veering into that area of diminishing returns, it still doesn't make it a bad investment. It's still, those diminishing returns way outweigh stocks, way outweigh real estate. And so even that can be, you know, a safe, and again, I'm using the word safe, relatively speaking. It's important to always consider the risks within crypto, but it's a safe investment. It's a very easy potential 5 to 10x in the next bull cycle. So you can be the most reserved person in the world. You can take a punt on some of the lesser known tokens or something that is perhaps a little bit more speculative. Some of you may categorize Pulsechain, Pulsex, and Hex into that. I certainly don't. I think that it's a bit more of a foregone conclusion in my own mind. I think the writing's on the wall, and we've talked about that. But even for some of you who have more of a conservative mindset, you don't necessarily have to allocate all of your portfolio to some of these tokens and projects that, you know, haven't yet proven themselves over time. I think Hex probably has proven itself, but with Pulsechain and Pulsex, they're brand new. I get it. If some of you, you know, aren't able to pull from some of your experience because you maybe don't have it, then it may not be such an easy algorithm to make in your head that your money will go extremely far should you invest in that. But with an Ethereum, you know, even with the Bitcoin to a lesser extent, the writing is on the wall for them too, albeit probably in a lesser fashion. Now, if you're the kind of person who has a decent amount of money saved up and you're happy with a 5x, then Ethereum may be the play for you, because the chances of that doing a 5x, if to a 10x, if not in this bull cycle, certainly by the next one, are looking very, very likely. And as we start seeing more advancements in Ethereum, which I think is going to be important for, you know, crypto as a whole, you know, we want Pulsechain to thrive, of course. That's not really going to be the case to the same extent if something happens with Ethereum and no one uses it anymore. That's just going to provide us with a use case scenario that blockchains have a shelf life, even if they're super popular ones and we're not able to evolve them as we go to meet our needs. And so, probably worth another video. But right now, just simply remember where we are within the cycles. We're in a very opportune time to continue to dollar cost average into the projects that we believe in, whether that is something that's a little bit more speculative and has potentially a lot more upside, or whether that is some projects that have had a huge tenure in the space, have gone through a couple cycles and are still going strong, still have a strong community, and we are just playing the cycles. You've heard so many people talking about playing the cycles. A lot of people talking about it right now, and those who are listening and doing it will reap the rewards, but it's proven time and time again, cycle after cycle, most people still don't fully understand how these cycles work. They wait until it's too late to see some of those monumental returns, and you may get a decent return from some projects. Hell, some of those more speculative projects may start coming to fruition when we're well into the bull cycle, and that's totally fine as well. There may be opportunities there that are worth taking a risk on, but you are significantly decreasing the amount of risk you're taking by getting into a lot of these comfortable projects in advance, because we're going to see, as soon as the bull market takes off in full again, we're going to see a lot of price action. We're going to see people jumping back in. We've talked about this time and time again, and that is the perfect time to have already set your foundations. So just a quick reminder to everyone out there, it's easy to get wrapped up in what's happening now, and there's certainly a lot of exciting things happening, and keeping an ear to the grindstone, as we've talked about, being made aware of these updates in real time can definitely give you a good idea as to what the overall sentiment and the narrative is like, which is super important when making decisions. However, it's also very important to start setting those foundations in more secure ways as well, if that is what you feel like you want to do, because I get it and I totally understand that for some of you it's going to take more convincing. Some of you that are especially new to crypto, and saving money, it isn't easy for anyone really. And so, if you're allocating a set percentage of your portfolio or your savings to crypto in general, I think there are a lot of very safe yet very lucrative opportunities you can take advantage of by getting involved now. As always, please like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. It is an absolute pleasure reading your comments, and I love how this community is taking form. So I'm looking forward to the next one.